The following is an encore presentation of stories from the Dooralong Transformation Centre. It's 10 minutes past 10 here on 94.9 Remo Central Coast, and we're joined this morning by Luke from the Dooralong Transformation Centre. So, a very good morning to you, Luke.
Good morning.
What's the weather like out at Dooralong? Pretty chilly, I'm guessing?
Yeah, very cold in the mornings and night.
Yeah.
It's alright during the day though.
Yeah, frost on the ground this time of the year?
Yeah.
Yeah, gets really hot in the summer, really cold in the winter.
Yeah, they got a pool there, so it's pretty good in the
in the summer, yeah, but I wouldn't have thought of many hitting the pool in this weather. No, not yourself anyway. Too sensible for that. So how long have you been at Dooralong, Luke?
About 7 months.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And how are things going generally?
Yeah, very well.
You feeling making good progress?
Yeah, growing each day and just continuing on.
Yeah. And 7 months is that just over halfway through or something like that?
Yeah, it's a bit over, so it's getting towards the end of the program.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's turn the clocks back before we start looking forward. You've obviously got some addictions. Can I ask what they are?
Yeah, drugs, alcohol and gambling.
Yeah, so that's 3 big ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't really want one of those, but to have 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. When did it start for you? When did it become a problem?
Drugs sort of started experimenting at age 14.
Yeah.
Alcohol about the same age.
Yeah.
And gambling sort of, about 18, 19.
Yeah, a bit later. Yeah, but I suppose for boys, age 14, I suppose it is that age when you're growing up and you're experimenting with stuff, aren't you?
Yeah.
Alcohol, drugs are freely available at school.
Yeah.
But whereas most people sort of keep it as an experiment, it sort of sounds as if it got a hold of you in a bad way.
Yeah, it did. Definitely sort of early 20s, that was when it really hit home for me.
Right, so a little bit, up until then it was sort of manageable, no different than anybody else perhaps?
At times, but sort of 22 was more like an everyday thing. Yeah.
So what was a typical day looking like for you at 22?
Work, party all night, work.
Yeah. And partying all night is where the problem arises.
Yeah.
Yeah. With drink and drugs.
Yeah. And gambling, yeah.
And gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been, through the work that you've done at Dooralong, have they, peeling away the layers of your sort of character or whatever? Can you see what the trigger was or why you were doing it? Some guys we've talked to say they were drinking or taking drugs to forget stuff, blot stuff out.
Yeah, the gambling was definitely an escape.
Yeah.
At times drinking was too. Drinking out in the city with friends and stuff, I didn't see as too much of a problem. But at home by myself, yeah.
Yeah, and you were living on your own at this stage, were you?
Yeah.
And so drinking at home, that's where it's, But do you still think you've got it under control?
No, I can't. I can't just have one drink.
But at that time, you thought perhaps?
Oh, I just thought it was normal. To be honest, yeah. All my friends were big drinkers. Maybe not the gambling. I took that a bit further than all of them. And the drugs, same thing. Sort of a lot of friends were doing drugs and stuff.
Yeah, we've talked to lots of people who've had the drink and alcohol as their sort of problem, but can't remember, perhaps only one other guy that we've spoken to from Dooralong that sort of admitted to this sort of gambling problem. You say you took it a bit further than your mates. What did the gambling look like for you?
Well, coming home from the city, sort of, we'd all come home at, say, maybe, 2 in the morning or something.
Yeah.
I'd go to the pub then and continue on till 5 or 6, with basically whatever money I had left from the night. So.
And is this the pokies we're talking about? Yeah. And it wasn't horses or anything like that? No. How much would you sort of spend on a bad night?
At times $2,000.
2,000?
Yeah.
Through the pokies?
Yeah.
In one night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes a month's pay.
So, because you were holding down a job at this stage.
Yeah.
So you get paid
have a few big nights, and then whatever was left. Yeah.
Yeah. Did your mates not say, "Hang on, Luke, this is a problem for you, lad"?
I sort of hit it. There was one friend in my early 20s that I used to gamble with a lot. But yeah, gambling was sort of something I did on my own. Yeah.
So this was your hidden secret.
Yeah.
What is that? Because you were ashamed of it, or you felt it a weakness?
No, I think it was just sort of an escape. Like, I didn't have to think about anything else. None of life's problems. Just it was my way, sort of zoning out. If that
zoning
makes sense.
out,
Yeah.
blotting out the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But a very expensive way, 2,000 in a night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of guilt and shame, I imagine, the next morning when you wake up.
Yeah. What am I going to do? Where am I going to get money from?
Yeah. Was it just yourself at this stage, or did you have a partner or something? That you had to, money had to be provided for meals and things like this.
A couple of times, yeah, over the last few years, but I don't know. I always sort of had food, and I was living at home with my parents for a fair bit of that time too.
Yeah. So money wasn't being spent on a rental mortgage, living at home with mum and dad, and any spare cash you get.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I always paid them rent.
Yeah.
But that was always paid, and
Yeah. And so you go down the pokies. How long would it take to put 2,000 through the pokies?
Sometimes all day, sometimes all night, sometimes a couple of hours.
Yeah. Very sad, isn't it, really? Yeah. And I was talking to somebody once who, I think he was a gambling counsellor, and he was explaining to me the way those poker machines are, the software in them is very sophisticated.
Yeah.
Even the noises they make and the lights that they flash, there's nothing random about it. It's all designed to keep you sat there feeding it.
Yeah.
So
I remember speaking to one guy at the casino, and he said, "Oh, how long have you been here for?" And I said 2 or 3 hours. He'd been at the casino for 72 hours straight.
Without any sleep?
No.
Just drinking and feeding the poker machines?
Yeah.
And this is at the age of 22-ish?
Yeah.
Early 20s?
Yeah.
Okay, Luke, let's break for some music and then come back and pick up that story and see how that developed for you. It's 22, coming up to 23 minutes past 10 here on 94.9 Rima Central Coast. We're talking this morning to Luke. Luke was telling us about, unfortunately, he became addicted to alcohol and drugs, and then later on in life, in his early 20s, gambling as well. So it's that trifecta nobody really wants, isn't it, Luke?
No.
You've got all three. And it's probably difficult to separate them out. They probably all mix together, do they? One leads to the other. The alcohol leads to the pokies and that type of thing.
It was lifestyle. It was definitely the lifestyle. It wasn't one separate from the other.
Yeah. So what was your life looking like? What was a typical week for you? Because you were in Sydney at this time, weren't you?
Yeah. So Wednesday be at a nightclub, Thursday be at a nightclub, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and during the day, sort of Saturday, Sunday gamble.
Yeah. And that was a regular pattern, week in, week out, year in, year out. Yeah. What sort of toll was it taking of relationships and family? Was it causing problems there for you?
Yeah. I remember my mum used to try and call me. My phone would be off. Definitely.
Yeah. Did they know you had a problem?
Yeah, I think they suspected it, and sort of when the occasional mail came, and got into a fair bit of debt and stuff as well. Yeah.
So that's not the sort of thing, especially you're still living at home at this stage.
Yeah.
Can't really keep debt collectors and that sort of thing away from mum and dad, can you?
No.
Yeah. So at what point, Well, let me ask. I was going to say, at what point did you come to Dooralong? But I should ask perhaps first. Did you try anything else? Was there a point in your life where you sort of had a little talk with yourself and thought, "Gee, I'm just going to have to sort of do something about this"?
Yeah. So I've been trying to sort my life out since 2007, so 10 years. Started off doing meetings first.
This is AA meetings and
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I got about 2 years, 2 months up.
Yeah.
Then sort of went back to it for maybe a year and a half. I've had counselling. I did the Bridge program in 2011, 2012, so I did 10 months then, and was good for a while. And then stopped going to meetings, stopped going to church, fell back into it.
Yeah. So this has been a 10-year struggle, really hard struggle.
Yeah. But it was probably 5 years or 6 or 7 years of solid addiction before I first realised I had to do something about it in 2007. But,
and was there a particular event maybe that sort of triggered that I've got to do something about it? Or was it just realisation that you can't carry on living like this?
I think it was mainly my parents at that stage.
Yeah.
And I wanted help, but I probably at that stage wasn't doing it for myself. Yeah.
And did you have any really bad experiences with the drug or the alcohol? We've heard about the gambling side of, losing a couple of thousand in an evening, but what about drug and alcohol? Any bad experiences?
Yeah, probably in May or June last year I overdosed on drugs and alcohol. Was out for about 5 days. That was pretty scary. Probably 6 or 7 years ago, dropped from alcohol, woke up in hospital.
So medical problems or sort of abusing your body, it takes its toll. Yeah. Okay, so you've decided that you've got to do something. You've been struggling really the last 5-10 years, and you managed to keep yourself clean for little periods of time, or for long periods of time, really, a couple of years, you said. Yeah, but you've always gone back.
Always gone back to it.
Yeah. And you mentioned the church. You stopped going to church. Were you a church going person?
I started going to church again last time I did program. So 2012 I connected with a church in my area, and I was going every week and getting involved there, and then sort of slowly over time stretched it out to once a month, and
sort of withdrew those supports that you had. So at some point in your life, somebody must have mentioned, or you must have found out about Dooralong. How did that sort of land on your radar?
Well, I was in William Booth's house sort of end of October, and they just suggested to me that that'd be a better place for me.
You'd never heard of it before?
No.
Didn't know what it was?
No.
So you found out a bit about it?
Yeah.
And you said yes?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah? And how long ago? That was 7 months ago you came to Dooralong?
Yeah, started November.
Started in November. And how do you feel it's different this time round from the rehabs that you've done in the past? Because you were saying before the last time you did it, you really weren't doing it for yourself.
It feels more like a family there.
Yeah.
It's sort of focused on freedom and basically what brought me under, like transforming my whole life, and sort of the lifestyle was my addiction.
Okay.
That's the difference to last time I did program, I think. And I probably wasn't completely honest last time either.
Yeah. So this time around, not just looking at the addictions as a separate part of your life, but they're looking at your whole life.
Yeah, and all the emotional
stuff.
The spiritual stuff. I think Last time it was just sort of, basically doing it to satisfy my parents, sort of thing.
Yeah, ticking a box for mum and dad rather than doing it for Luke. Yeah. So it will have been hard, I guess, those last 7 months. So hard work that you've done with the therapy and what have you.
It is hard, and I'm sort of come to accept that life will be a bit hard for the rest of my life. One day at a time, and it is basically a disease that I'm living with.
No easy fix. No quick fix, anyway. Yeah. And we're back. We are back talking to Luke this morning. In that chat before the music, we had Luke coming to the Dooralong Transformation Centre, putting in a heck of a lot of hard work, because it is hard work. He's been there now 7 months. You go to a church now?
Yeah, I go to North Lakes up near Newcastle.
Good church?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. And how is that whole sort of Christianity, God thing going with you at the moment?
I feel refreshed that I've got that relationship back, because at times that's what I've struggled with. I've always believed in God. I've always sort of tried to uphold my values and that. But it's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling. And it's a good feeling to have a church family as well, isn't it? If you've got a good church and good people around you.
That's right. Like-minded people.
Like-minded people, And also I think what many of the guys talk to us about is that they've been out to churches, from Dooralong to local churches, half expecting, I think, a little bit of judgment by the people at church, and they were just blown away that there was no judgment, just complete acceptance.
Very accepting, very friendly, supportive, and inspiring through their messages and the music too. And I know music's a particular thing for you, isn't it, Luke? We haven't mentioned it, but it's one of your big hobbies, music, isn't it? Yeah, I like to write lyrics. I've always sort of been into DJing, and aside from gambling as being an escape, sort of music was always that escape too.
Right. So, and you sing as well, do you, or can we call you a singer-songwriter or just a songwriter?
Just lyrics.
Okay, just a songwriter, but that's pretty cool. Are you doing much of that at the moment, writing stuff?
I haven't for the last couple of weeks, but
and what particular, what's the word we use, genre, what particular sort of music do you like?
Hip-hop and R&B.
I'm not sure I've heard the Salvation Army Band playing much hip-hop, but perhaps you're going to have to sort of put that right for them. And it's chapel night tonight. There'll be plenty of loud music tonight. Yeah, good. Okay, so your dreams, your hopes for the future, Luke. You sound as if you're in a good space with God at the moment. You've been at Dooralong 7 months. What's next?
So I'll complete program probably in about 3 months' time. September I'll go into a halfway house or thereabouts. Work part-time and study, sort of from July till maybe February, and then I'm hoping to go down to Duntroon and join the army in March next year.
So you've got a future planned for yourself. That sounds a really positive thing, doesn't it? And a really good thing to do, to join the army and serve the country, and so that's on the horizon. The halfway house, that again is run presumably by the Salvation Army, where they got caseworkers and counsellors there for you as you make that transition.
There's about 6 people there.
Well, that sounds really good. So going to Dooralong, as the name suggests, Dooralong Transformations, and it has really transformed your life.
Definitely.
And what about relationships with mum and dad? Because I know they were not so good in the past. How are things with them now?
It's a slow process, but it's getting better.
Because I guess from their point of view, and let's be honest, you've got to build that trust with them again, I suppose, haven't you?
I've let them down quite a few times.
So it will be a slow process, but you feel you're getting there. Well, that's super. Well, look, thanks so much for coming in this morning, Luke. Before we started, Luke said to me, at the end, can you just say hi to somebody? And I said, of course you can. So you got somebody you want to say hello to, I think, haven't you, Luke? Yeah. Who are you saying hello to?
Shout out to Riri.
Riri. So you'll know who you are, Riri. So yeah, regards from Luke and from all of us here at REMA. So thanks for coming in, Luke. We do hope those plans come to fruition, and if it's God's will, then they will come to fruition. It's as simple as that.
Thanks a lot.
Take all our good wishes back to the guys and girls that do along, and you're working in the kitchen, I think, at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah, so you'll have a busy day. You've got the roast meal to prepare for today, for this evening.
No, breakfast shift.
Oh, you're on the breakfast shift.
Yep.
Oh, what time do you start?
6:30.
Oh, yeah, hard luck. I'd rather just lie in bed and grab a bowl of cornflakes. Okay, thanks, Luke. We do wish you well, and look, if you can keep in touch with us and let us know how you're going in the future, that would be super.
Sure, will do.
Okay, thanks for that. You've been listening to an encore presentation of the Dooralong stories, which can be heard live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. and repeated 8 p.m. Sunday and 1 a.m. Wednesday, right here on 94.9 rema.cc.